Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another program of Toward a Quality of Life. And before we start today, I am going to be talking about the President of the United States again today. And I want you to know that who I am, because you may say, oh, Nancy, she's just a Republican. No, I've never been a Republican, and I'm not a Republican. In fact, I worked in the Dukakis campaign, the Jerry Brown campaign, and the Ross Perot campaign. And where do I get my information? No, I don't go to right-wing newspapers and papers that are slanted against the government. No, I go to mainstream liberal papers. I go to all papers when I'm finding my information. And because I am concerned and because this has been such an unusual year, our country has never seen the likes of it, in my opinion, I can't stop looking and figuring out and finding out what's going on. And I think it's incumbent. I know you don't have the time, perhaps, that I do, as I don't have children, I'm not married, I don't go to school, and so on. But it's incumbent on all of us to really know what's going on in our government and not just listen to what's being said, as I always tell you, but what's being done, in fact. And I will tell you, too, about the president that I'm not happy because he was very vague when he ran for president, never really clearly stating what kind of an agenda he would have or how he would try to enact it. And he was like an empty slate upon whom everyone put their hopes and changed dreams. And I don't like the fact that more isn't known now and wasn't known then about exactly what this was going to be like. Now, you know, when you don't seem to get a grip and you're saying, whoa, what's going on? You hear these new things every day. You look at something in the news from the government and you're like, your eyeballs fall out of your head constantly. And a lot of things don't make sense, and a lot of things are contradictory to each other. And so a lot of people, like myself, they start to say, what the heck is going on? They can't figure it out. Now, let's just say for the record, too, which I've told you before, but this is very important, and it's never been this way with any other president or even people who are governors or senators and so on. But there are no records. People are on the case looking, trying to find who is this guy, what is his background, and it's as though the records have been scrubbed clean. There are no kindergarten records, no records of that fancy school that he went to in Hawaii, no Occidental College records, no Columbia University records, no Columbia thesis, no Harvard Law School records, no Harvard Law Review records, no scholarly articles from when he was at the University of Chicago, no passport records, no medical records, no files from his years as an Illinois state senator, no state bar association records, no baptism records, and no adoption records. I mean, this is unbelievable. There are also no records of his parents and no records of his mother's parents with whom he lived. There's also no records of their marriages, his parents and his mother's parents. No records of their births. No records of his grandfather's military service. This is very strange. There's no records of the student loans that his wife said they had to pay back, that they had taken out. No records of it. It doesn't show up on their tax statements and so on. There's no records of his Columbia years. And I think it's pretty clear as a background that the president would like to be a world leader. Remember the Roman columns. Remember when he went to Europe and everything. It's really going towards more. I don't feel that he's like, you know, understanding right here and now, not for rich people, but regular people, that, you know, we're a whole country looking to Washington of what they should or should not do, for that matter. You know, I think his horizons are beyond that, and a lot of damage has been done to our country. It could be inadvertent, it could be on purpose, I don't know. And we know that George Soros, for example, and many others are always behind the president, behind Bush, behind Clinton, behind them all. It's not the president. It's not the face you see. There's many things behind a president that have a lot to do with whether we go to war, whether we have a particular kind of policy in place, and so on. And these are not necessarily the people that we know about. but one of the big backers of the current president is George Soros, and you should be going and finding all these things out. You can look up everything to see if what I tell you is accurate. These can all be found out. Anyway, Soros is a person who has explicitly said that the United States has got to be removed as the leader from the world scene. The United States has got to come down. And remember when all the countries were so pinning their hopes on Mr. Obama? Well, one of the main reasons was because his philosophy was in line with a lot of people thinking that the United States should give up its wealth, give up its technology, and kind of come down so that other countries can come up. And I don't think the United States has to go down in order for other countries to come up. Now, let's go to the main gist of it. What I'm going to try to show here is the curious pattern of the damage that's been done, the worsening that's happening to us. And the worsening is not happening to rich people, it's happening to everyday people and to poor people. When, of course, Mr. Obama came in, we were on our knees financially. And we had a terrible economy and the bank problems, and we had the two wars. And I said at the time and in some lectures ago that, if he had this socialist communist agenda, it might have been fortuitous for him to see us in this position because, it would even be easier perhaps in such a mishmash of problems to work a new agenda. But here we are, and we're like this, and it's so hard to believe that anybody who comes in as a president or governor, they see these two major problems, the economy and the war. You have to face them head on. I mean, this is what you don't complain of what you inherited because your agenda can't be pushed through now. You deal with what you have in front of you, and those were pressing. And I can't get over ever that these were ignored, and these big, costly programs when we were already getting squeezed and spending so much money under these circumstances, I can't get over it, on things that had nothing to do with what we needed right now in this past year immediately. And those were, of course, this cap and trade. And please don't ever believe cap and trade. There's an ad running in Massachusetts now telling Scott Brown to vote for these energy bills. Oh, we are going to pay so much more under cap and trade. Yes, our environment is messed up. Cap and trade is not the answer to that. And then there was this health care and all this other stuff, just throwing it right in, ignoring the stuff that really had to be paid attention to. And you realize, too, that it took Mr. Obama 3 months to even talk to the general about the war, and then it took him another 3 months to make up his mind. You remember all those things. Now, health care is important, and everybody needs health care. But why did he have to throw that onto the culture as a massive thing, and why couldn't he just try to take care of the uninsured, for example? And then the stimulus, the big stimulus bill that wasn't structurally oriented so that a lot of the money is just squandered. The latest example, and there are so many and you can go find them out, is that a school in Florida was giving away $350,000 worth of iPods to parents who would answer a survey questionnaire. Imagine that. This came out just this week and the public outrage, and now they've pulled back that idea. But the crazy kind of spending. And not all of that big stimulus bill has been spent. He only spent some of it, and now he's waiting to get close to November to spend the rest to show, like, look how good we've got this money going into. Where's the money? Why do that kind of thing when the country needs it? And it's the wrong stimulus bill anyway. Then there was the earmark bill. Then there was the money given to the World Bank. And there were so many other costly things as the banks were robbing us blind. This is where it gets so crazy. You can't understand how this is all happening at once. Remember I told you that in 2007, Mr. Obama, when he was an unknown, met with the Goldman Sachs biggest bankers of this country and in a way of the top tier of the world, and they gave him $700,000 to start his campaign. So what those connections are is very interesting. Not that this doesn't happen with others, but I want you to see